Let me show you how to use water-based markers right here to create watercolor effects on a watercolor paper. Not every paper works, not every watercolor paper works. So this might require that you be a little experimental to find those papers that work best for you. Now what I've started here is a great wave with a volcano. But one wave was not enough to fill this design space. So I've added extra along with some smaller details to make the surface more lively. You can see where I experimented that I like to play with line type, line quality, and also the thickness of the line weight. And sometimes I do that by itself with a marker by itself on the paper, and sometimes I use the marker on top of a dry area of watercolor. So it's great to combine different tools and techniques on the same sheet of paper. Let me get started on a brand new piece. Now here's a piece of watercolor paper divided in half, and I'm going to go ahead and cut this nice and straight. The size I'm making is great for experimentation, also great for gift cards and great for postcards. I do like using permanent marker, and I do like making big marks. So in the English language, that would be a letter C, and I'll take that letter and I'll transform it into a giant wave. And you can see the wave coming up and over. And in the background, I'm going to put a line, and that will be the mouth of a distant volcano. And that really isn't enough, is it, to fill that space? So I'm going to continue to add details. I can just repeat my wave lines differently. Here I'm going to turn the paper to make it easy for me to come in and create another big movement there, and a little bit of something there, and a little bit of something there. And because I like variety, I like slight differences in things, I will use a skinnier marker to add a little difference in line weight. Weight has to do with how thick or thin the line is. And now I believe I am ready to paint. So here we go. I'm right-handed, my towel, my brushes, and my water are on my right side. My markers that I'm going to use for my paint are right here, close by. Everything convenient to my right hand. If you were left-handed, you would put your brushes, your towel, and your water on your left side. So I'm going to take my blue, and I'm going to pop off that cap, and take the point of the marker, come in from my right so I can see where the point's going. Did you notice how I turned the paper to make it easier for my right hand to do its work? So my left hand constantly is moving the paper and helping my right hand along. And because I like to have bright colors, I'm going to be very generous with the amount of blue that I use. And be sure and snap the cap when I'm done. Control the water in the brush by pulling on the lip of the glass. You can remove extra water also on the towel. You will learn to control the water for the size of the area you're going to paint. Notice how I come in from my right and very carefully go right back where I had been and redissolve or dissolve that color, and then drag it back. Just gently dragging until I like what I see. I might wash the brush and dry it out because I might like it like that, or because I did wash the brush, let me just soften these hard edges there and let that blue fade to white. What do you think? It's a beautiful fade from dark to light. I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to put some color right here in this portion of the mountain. How about a little bit of red? Right here, did you notice how my Left hand moved the paper and is now holding tight to the paper. A little red there, a little red there. Be generous. Snap that cap and possibly, notice how I turn the paper, a little yellow there. Snap that cap. And I'm going to go ahead and remove most of the water from the brush because this is a very small area. And it doesn't take any water at all, just a tiny bit, for me to be happy with the result. So I'm going to leave that alone, wash the brush, and lay it down. You notice I always pull on the brush, I always keep the point on the brush. Let's take this purple and turn the paper and add this purple right here. Nope, I'm going to add it right here on this inside edge. And again, coming in from my right so I can see exactly where the purple marker is going to go, being very generous with the amount that I'm using. Possibly I would like to blend some colors, so I might mix that purple with this green. Now this should be an interesting blend. Purple and green are going to give you an interesting new color. I wonder if you can predict what it's going to be. There's a hint right there where the two overlap just a little bit. It's going to be a very beautiful, very lovely color. And maybe up here, looks like I drug my hand through some wet paint. Got to be careful about that. I'm going to show you how you can correct that in just a moment. I'll put some blue. So right now, this mistake of mine gives me a chance to show you how to correct. Take your brush and clean it in the water. Go ahead, moisten that area, dissolve that red. You can wash out the little bit of color, go back in with a clean brush, and then take your towel and remove some of that stain. It's not major, and as a matter of fact, I can color over that area later with pencil if I wish, but that will help to clean up that mistake and this little mistake here. So sometimes we make mistakes and we just have to learn how to correct them. Slight blot, and that will get rid of most of that mistake. Now moving on, we have to go back here, and I'm going to come in with quite a bit of water because that's a big area. So I didn't really remove much water from my brush, and dissolve the color and turn the paper and dissolve the color. Blue and purple make a beautiful combination. I have the point of my brush here, so I'm going to use it to control placement there, placement there. And maybe just a little moisture there to have that purple extend out towards that edge. And here we go. This blue, notice how I turn the paper, can come right over there. And I use the point of my brush to control the placement always. Okay, I want to wash the brush out and just use the little bit of blue that's there and carry it over here. I can. And I see maybe a slight mistake there. Again, turn the paper to control that. And I think I'll leave that alone for right now. So you can see that the colors go from dark to light depending on how much water you use. But you'll never have a very strong, bright color unless you're very generous when you first place the colors on the paper. So of course, always be very, very generous. Now, if I wanted to, I wouldn't always have to use this technique of marker with brush. I could use the marker all by itself. For example, I'm going to come down here with this purple, and I'm going to add some purple details here. How can I do that? Well, the blue underneath is already dry, so I can draw on top like that. I can snap that cap. Maybe I'll pick up a purple pencil. And if the paper's dry, never been painted, or if it's been painted but that area is very, very dry, then you can go ahead and do pencil. Now here I'm going to do pencil on dry paper, but I'll wind up painting over that in just a little bit. So remembering there are all kinds of possibilities. Maybe while I'm here, I'll add a little bit of purple pencil here and paint on top of that, and maybe a little bit of purple pencil here. Remember that mistake I had here that's barely visible? Maybe I'll just cover that up just a tiny bit with a little bit of my purple pencil. Now it looks like I'm going a little overboard with purple pencil, but we can change that up real fast. Here comes my brush full with water, and here I come. Turn that paper. Let's redissolve this green. Use the tip of the brush. Remember I said you can paint over things. Here I'm painting around, here I'm painting over, and using the tip of the brush to control placement there, and leaving that alone because I'm happy with it. Here where the green and the purple intersect, you get kind of a beautiful gray color, unexpected, but still lovely to see. So I'll carry that gray on up there. You'd be surprised how many beautiful color blends you can get to happen. I don't like the purple here. I'm going to add, by itself, I'm going to add a little bit of brown. Let's put a little bit of brown here. I'm not going to use very much brown. Remove the water. Use the tip of the brush. I got to be careful. That green was just laid down and it's pretty wet. I don't want my brown and green to blend together. There's that. And I'm just going to let the brown fade out there. Let's go in with some yellow in the background over here. And you know, if you like the yellow just like this without any brushwork at all, you can leave it just like this. But I think I'll probably go in. Nice clean brush, not too much water in the brush. Control that with the paper towel or with the lip on the water container. Here comes my yellow. Go ahead and bring some of that yellow up here. You see it continues on up and fades out nicely up there. Take care of any small missed spots with the point of your brush. You can see I can almost be done here if I want to be. And remembering when it dries, I can do some other things. Let's have some fun with this pink. I'm going to go ahead and add a little pink over here. Oh, that's a pretty bright pink. I wasn't expecting that, but I do like bright colors. And I might go ahead and mix with that pink a little bit of this blue. Bring that on over here. And control the water in the brush. That pink is dissolving, but not as easily as some of the other colors did, so there's a little bit of difficulty getting that pink to dissolve. Not terribly bad, but not as easy to dissolve as some of the other colors. There it goes. And I'm just going to have fun pulling it out and around and mixing it with my blue and using the tip of my brush to control the placement there. There we have that, and that pink will continue to dissolve a little bit more as the paper sets, and it kind of makes sense that I'll go ahead and bring some of that pink on over here, maybe not very much, and I think I'd like to go ahead and add just a little bit of yellow here and here and here. Kind of hard to put the new color down when the paper is wet, so do be aware that sometimes putting things on wet paper is a little tricky. And there we go, some warmth of yellow in there. And my very small picture, a large wave and a volcano in the distance, is now done. When it dries, I can still do more work on it using colored pencil, permanent marker, or even my old water-based marker. I can still do that, or I can be happy with it just the way it is. Now, you try.